thank you everyone for joining. This is David from Kosherwine.com. I wanted to first of all thank Amichai for agreeing to do this. He had to wake up really early in the morning. It's about 4 a.m. in Israel. Josh Greenstein from the IWPA, the Israeli Wine Producers Association, pitched this idea to us at Kosherwine.com to collaborate and to offer these sessions to all our customers and to the kosher wine community at large.
If you have a glass of wine, or if you need to go run to a room and get a glass of wine, please make sure you have something nearby or pick something up and put it into your glass and, make sure there we go, everybody. We got some stuff going on out there in the world, and we're trying to find a way to drink wine and enjoy it together. So this class that we're going to be doing with Kosherwine.com is a great opportunity to meet the people, see their day-to-day life, see how Amichai wakes up in the morning. So when I pitch this to Amichai, he says, all right, I'm first. I'm waking up in the morning and I'm cooking breakfast for everybody. I said, I'll see you on Sunday.
As a winemaker, things get a little bit crazy at this season. Sometimes I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but all days start very early because this is the season that I start at the first light at the vineyards usually. Josh asked me to cook breakfast.
Hey, Amichai, what do you suggest to people when they're cooking? When they're cooking, what type of wine should they be using when they're cooking?
A rosé, a chardonnay, a sauvignon blanc, something easy to drink, something that's good when it's chilled. Listen to this. I love this music. I have this great song. Sing together with me. You like that song?
Amichai, how long have you been making wines for? We know you've been a cook for a long time. How long have you been making wine?
Making wine since 2000. At Shiloh Winery, it started in the middle of the vintage of 2005. We started thinking that we'd be making 15 or 20,000 bottles a year. And then as time passed, we realized that the more we make, the more we sell, and there's usually never enough from one year to the other. And now we're already up to over 200,000 bottles a year.
Amichai, I have a crazy question for you. I know this doesn't happen to you, but some people don't finish a bottle of wine in an evening. It's Sunday night right now. Let's say we have a half a bottle of wine left on the table. What should we do with it, and how long will it last?
Almost all our wines, if you don't finish the bottle of wine, all you have to do is put the cork back in like this, leave it in a cool place in the house, and I promise you 100% the day after and even 2 days after, the wine will be even better than the day that you opened it.
So talk to us about what you're making, Amichai, a little bit, what you're preparing.
So it's my version of Shakshuka. Some people will do Shakshuka with all different kinds of ways, but basically Shakshuka is eggs and tomatoes, okay? And some people will put in spinach, some people will put in meat.
Amichai, everyone knows that you're the chief winemaker, you're the head of the winery. I don't know if everybody knows you're actually the assistant in the garden. Is that
Yes,
true? And who runs the garden? So
the garden, my wife runs. She's in charge of the garden, right? She's in charge, first of all, she's the boss, right? My wife's in charge of the garden. My kids help a lot. And also I do. It's a lot of fun when you grow almost a lot of the things that we eat, we grow in the garden. We just a couple of weeks ago, we just took out most of the potatoes that we have. We still have another, we have this big plastic container with a lot of earth inside, and we've been growing potatoes. So we have another cycle of potatoes coming soon.
We know Amichai is crazy and amazing, and just watching him 4 a.m. preparing dinner, shakshuka, it's my respect to him just went up by another 100%. He's amazing.
It's already 4:30 in the morning, and we've been with you for a half an hour, and we haven't seen you drink any wine. What's going on?
So I'm about to finish my coffee, and then I'm moving into wine. Okay, our first l'chaim of the day.
When's the last time you had a glass of wine at 4 a.m.? Someone just asked me.
4 o'clock in the morning is sometimes the end of the previous day. So So 4 o'clock in the morning is, it's happened a lot.
Amichai, do you let your wife do any of the cooking in the house?
Well, first of all, I prefer her cooking than my cooking. And she's still sleeping, so I'm not just saying it's.
Where do your recipes come from? Were these passed down family? Do you make them up in your head? How do you come up with them?
I try to make things up every time I'll do something else. That's why I prefer cooking than baking.
I believe you have 4 children, if I remember correctly. Can you remind me, what wine did you serve at their weddings?
At their weddings, I bottled some of our wines. Each wedding was a different wine, but we labeled it specifically with special labels we put on it with a special bracha from the family to the kids. But it wasn't a specific wine that we make at the winery.
You're an artist when it comes to making wine, but mastering the art of Mavushal wine. And people out there, what's the difference? Does it make a difference? Can I age Mavushal? Can I not age Mavushal? Can you just give us your quick note on Mavushal wine?
I think that Herzog Winery already proved it years ago that Mavushal wine can age if it's done right. If the Mavushal process is done right, there's no reason why Mavushal wine can't age really nicely for many years. Sometimes even better than a non-Mavushal wine.
It's a question I always get all the time. Talk to me about sulfites. What is sulfites-free mean in a wine? How come we only have one coming in from Israel that's kosher? Tell me about sulfites a little bit.
So 0 sulfites in a wine, I think is impossible, because during the natural process of making wine, you'll have sulfites in the wine, okay? It's in nature. We add sulfites during the process of making wine at Shiloh Winery. We do add sulfites to our wine. We add a very, very small amount.
How many wines are you tasting a day, Amichai? On average, how many different wines do you taste in a day?
So it depends. I just posted a video clip of me doing a wine tasting of barrels that are supposed to go into the mosaic from 2008 of a 19 vintage. This is jalapeno. For some reason, this time of the season, they're not very kharif. How do you say kharif? Hot? Yes, not very spicy.
Hot or spicy,
yeah. But a little bit. It needs a shakshuka needs a little bite to it, right? Now you want to know what I'm drinking? Actually, we have these new gift boxes for 3 bottles, for 2 bottles, and for 1 bottle. They ship them to New York already. They're there, and if people want them, you can get them. Rosé 2019, Barbera and Cabernet Franc. The idea of doing Barbera and Cabernet Franc together, the Barbera gives 2 things. It gives fresh fruit, and it also gives a lot of acidity and crispy to the wine. And the Cabernet Franc just makes it a little bit more complex. First of all, it gives it a little bit of smooth at the end. And it also gives it a lot of herbs and green notes to it. And I think it's one of the most important things in making wine is balance and making things a little bit more interesting. And if it's just fruity, it's just not enough.
Amichai, a couple of quick questions. One is, how do people reach you and contact you if they want to come visit you or be in touch with you about your wines or the winery? And the second question is, what is your favorite wine and what vintage?
So first of all, my phone number and my email and Messenger, LinkedIn, Facebook, everything, it's open for everybody. It's online. You can call my phone, call me anytime. If you can't get through, send me a message. I get back to everybody. My favorite grapes by far Our Merlot. I'm a big fan when it comes to Merlot. We have two different Merlots. We have a Merlot in the Show series. Let's see. First of all, I have a Merlot Secret Reserve, okay? In my opinion, my favorite, by far, the best wine I think I make every year. My personal favorite. We have the Show series. We have a Barbera. We have a Cabernet Sauvignon. And we have a Merlot. By the way, we changed the label. Instead of it saying small over here, Merlot, Cabernet, whatever, we made it more easier to see. Oh, and by the way, I was talking about that we have cases for 2 and cases for 1. We have it all.
How did you decide to make the style of wine that you make?
So I wasn't sure at the beginning what my style is, what I like, and I'd play around with the wines. And I used to make wines before I started making wine at Shiloh Winery. And at the beginning, the first year, I made only wines that I like, which is a mistake because I have to make wines that everybody likes. And I like wines that are more powerful and robust. I like wines that are balanced. I like very high acidity in the wines. I do believe that acidity gives it a long finish. I try to make a large variety and a lot of different styles of wine so everybody can find something that he likes. Rosé, I've been playing around with different styles every year, something else. And I think only this year, 2019, I can say I nailed it. See, with my 2 hands, I can make the camera come closer, right?
Whoa.
Look at that.
If someone wants to try to start making wine at home themselves, how hard is it? And do you have any advice for them?
The easiest way to make wine on your own, on a small scale, is to buy grapes and ferment them. It happens on its own. You don't have to do anything. But if you want, online, there's like anything you can dream of. Everything is online. I'm just warning you that once you start, it's a hobby that's hard to stop. Look where it got me. I started making wine as a hobby, you know. I like to do things on my own. I'll bake my own bread, I'll cook my own vegetables, bake my own matzah, and I'll make my own wine. That's how everything started.
How has COVID-19 affected Shiloh Winery and, you directly?
First of all, unfortunately, there are people that I know that didn't survive. And I have also friends today that are sick, and Baruch Hashem, I have friends that were sick and now are okay. So it's a tough time, it's financially, it's a big challenge. Thank God people are still buying Shiloh wines, and we're selling very well here and in the States and in Europe. And hopefully this thing will pass because it's scary.
And has there been any regulations with you at the winery? Are you visiting the vineyards or anything like that from a winemaking perspective?
Well, listen, people have to keep their distances, and when we get close even a little bit, you have to wear masks and gloves and everything. But don't forget, when I'm in the vineyards, there's nobody next to me, and sometimes I can't even, if I see somebody who's very, very far away, or when people are working in the vineyard with me, we don't have to be in the same row, so we can keep our distance. Even when they said stay home, I mean, in the vineyards, I'm in the middle of nowhere. So that was no problem. And this is the season where I have to be in the vineyards, at least in every vineyard, at least once or twice a week. So there's no problem there. Work continues, nature continues. You can't stop it. And also at the winery is like spread out, so one person can work in the barrel room and the other person can work with tanks. And even if you need 2 people in the same place, you can really keep your distance. I mean, like very far away, one is working the pump, the other guy is working on the tank, and we're very spread out.
And life goes on to that Sauvignon Blanc because it's one of my favorite grapes. So what do you pair that with the best, and what makes Sauvignon Blanc, such a unique, fun grape?
For me, is sometimes if you have something you work hard on, then you appreciate more the result. The harder the journey, the tougher the journey, the more you enjoy the fruit at the end. And Sauvignon Blanc is, for me, I don't know if everybody has the same problem, but for me, Sauvignon Blanc is a very, very tough grape to work with. I'm starting in the vineyards. It tends for so many diseases, and we have to be so careful there to grow the grapes properly and get good fruit. It's the only vineyard. We don't just do all the regular work. We actually cover it with a white cloth. And also at the winery, once we press the grapes to get the fresh juice, because we ferment it only with the juice without the skins, it's very hard to get separate the sediment from the clear juice in a Sauvignon Blanc. Like in a Chardonnay, it's like this, it settles, you rack it, you ferment it, and it's easy. Sauvignon Blanc is so much harder.
What kind of barrels do you use?
French oak barrels from different cooperages, and every year we always try 10 to 20 barrels from a new cooperage and see how it works. And sometimes when we find something we'll add it. Once every couple of years, we buy a little bit of American oak. Everything else is French oak from different cooperages, mostly Nadalien, some Radou, different kinds of toasting and different kinds of oak.
Your son, does he work at the winery also, or you just wake him up to videotape?
All my kids worked in the winery one time or the other. And all my kids worked in the vineyards. I started working, taking my children to work when they were very small. It started because Motzei Shabbos, like right after Shabbos ends, and I'm running to the winery.
How long could the Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc remain open in the fridge after you open it the first time? How long? What kind of shelf life does it have?
I don't like to keep the Sauvignon Blanc or Chardonnay or any wine in a refrigerator after it's open. I mean, it's maybe a little bit before to chill it, but not after it's open. When there's a lot of air in the bottle, then the cold can speed up oxidation. So I don't like to put it in the fridge. I prefer to leave it out.
You talked about the Merlot was your favorite, but really, what is the best year of all the wines, of all the varieties that you've actually made that you feel like this is your best of your best?
So I think the 2017 seems like the best year we ever had. 2017. I know 16 was...
Which variety though?
The most unique and interesting wine I made in 2017 is the Petite Syrah Secret Reserve.
Love it.
Finally, after many years of trying, done it again, got the right vineyards for it.
We had a special request, Amichai, to know your oyster steak recipe.
That's what I was saying before. I never remember what I do and how I do it. I mean, sometimes we'll eat and wow, it came out great. And then how did I do it? I just don't remember.
Wow.
Okay, now that looks good. So we can turn that off.
So I'm a little bit psychological about your new Petite Syrah, which I bought a case of it about a week ago. And you said that you can store it for a long period of time. So a friend of mine says to me, Israeli wines can never go more than 10 years. Tell me why people think that, and what's your thought about this new beautiful case of Petite Syrah that I have. How long can it really last, and how long should we really keep it in the wine fridge for?
First of all, we've already proven, not just me, but other Israeli wineries, that Israeli wines can age very well for longer than 10 years. Tasted the 2007 Cabernet Secret Reserve. We're talking about 13 years old, still going strong. Maybe at its peak. 2007 Petite Syrah wasn't even near its peak, right? So that's way over 10 years. Legend Fiddler, 2009, 2010, 2011, still going strong. You don't even see where the end is. If that was those wines, the 2017 Petite Sirah is so much better and will last for so much longer. The Mosaic, an exclusive Mosaic, I mean, those wines can easily age very nicely and just improve. I'm talking about we'll be so much better in 10, 15 years that you just can't imagine.
Do you have any final words about what 2020 has to bring the winery, and what your plans are, and what people should go out maybe and purchase and sit down in their cellar from Kosherwine.com?
So what I wanted just to say is I recommend that people try the Merlot. You just won't regret it.